Hello and welcome back to the Design You podcast with your host, LauraLouu. I'm so excited to be here today. It looks like a storm is rolling through here in Colorado. It has been hot as shit. I'm gonna swear. It has been so hot here. Luckily, my pool has been my home. It'll be there anytime I'm not working. I'm at my pool. And luckily, I wasn't been able to cool off, but I'm seeing a lightning storm roll through, which is really good. And I think it's going to cool down within the next week, which is awesome. Now, a lot of things have been happening in the world collectively, like energies are high. And in astrology, they've been talking a lot about this, that especially with, Venus has entered Leo and, you know, I believe I think it's Uranus. Something shifted in Uranus. Again, I'm a human design girl. I don't keep up with, I try to keep up with all of the astrology things, but I can't keep track of it all. But I have been noticing that, like, yeah, shifts are happening. It was like a tumultuous last week for myself personally. I know a lot of my clients had a shitty week. It was lack of sleep, all this stuff. So it was just awful. Um, and this week they said it's gonna keep rolling through for the next week. So just buckle up and it will pass. Just always know that, like, even in astrology and in human design, things pass. It all passes, and it doesn't have to be bad. As long as you become aware of the energies around you, you can work with it. And it doesn't have to be as bad as you would think. So, just a little FYI so that you guys know what's happening here. Today we're going to be talking about the new paradigm. Now, the new paradigm is a lot. I've been studying a lot into it because in human design, a lot of human design people talk about it. And it's a shift in our world when something changes overall. Let's a little example here is like, so we have been in an era imbued with the energy of the cross of planning. So this corresponds to the end of the feudal systems and warrior kings and the beginnings of a new era, the era of scientists, of the Enlightenment. It is also the era of globalization. So the shift happens usually within 100 years, and the next paradigm happens in 2027. And with everything that's going on politically and everything that's going on right now, like just like with AI and technology, like, yeah, there's going to be a huge shift. And it's exciting for projectors because this is our time. This is the era for the projectors once this hits. And it's almost like I've been unconsciously preparing for this. Like, I think the projectors have been unconsciously preparing us to help communicate what's going on consciously in the world, to how can we help guide everyone else through this time. So I'm really excited for like what's going to happen. Huge shifts for 2027, according in human design. We are going to begin this new era. We are moving from the cross planning to the cross of sleeping phoenix, and we are moving into a completely different perspective. So the keywords that are used here is individuality, authenticity, responsibility, and self-love. And so, like, as I was like reading all of this, I'm like, huh, that tracks. Like, I'm all about being authentic. I'm being responsible for my purpose here. And I'm all about self-love and taking care of yourself, which in society, that's not working in the world around us. Like, people like to work to make the money, but then they're not taking care of themselves and they're abusing their bodies and they're, you know, doing whatever the fuck they want. And I'm not here to judge you. I'm just stating the facts that this is what's happening. And are here, I am here to help people understand how self-love can be so effective and how it can help you take care of yourself and move with authenticity and move with responsibility and individuality. So this is a really important time, especially for the projectors. And I hope all my projectors are listening because I'm just excited for us. I'm excited, all of the projectors that I've talked to, we're all kind of on the same path. Like, we're feeling we want more. We want more in a way that's like I had this conversation with one of my closest friends, and she's also a 6'2" splenic projector. And I have been just kind of like, we haven't really seen each other in a while. And, she like liked one of my posts and she's like, I resonate with this so much. And me and her, I think, are going through the same like healing stage of like, she's like, sometimes I feel bad of like wanting more for myself. Like I feel guilty. I'm like, I totally understand. And she's like, you know, her family is giving her a hard time with it. I feel like no, my family is giving me a hard time for wanting more for myself. And they're just like, you're high maintenance and this and that. And it's like, no, I just know what I deserve and I know what I want for my life. And it's a challenge right now, just because, especially with this election, like things are just like, there's a struggle. And, and like in a lot of people are feeling this, the world is kind of falling apart. Or rather, society, as it has been convinced since enlightenment is being strongly challenged, 2027 can be perceived as a collapse of society as we live it today. So, like, I have been feeling that. And I was like, she was like, I feel like I'm comparing myself to my past self. And I was like, me too. Like, I keep comparing myself to the person I was 2 years ago. And I'm also shaming myself for wanting more and wanting to feel like my worth is there, instead of like just living the life that I used to live. Like, I'm trying to grow up, I'm trying to evolve. And, our subconscious almost kind of wants us to backtrack or like we're like gaslighting ourselves into feeling bad about that. And I feel like it's just so, and so me and her, I was like, we need to get together and just like vent because me and her are just going through the same thing. And it's just a different time. And it's like, when I say like my family likes to like, be hard on me for that. And the same with hers, it's just like they're just a different generation. So they just don't understand. And I'm not going to back down with how I feel and what I want and what I deserve, and also what I want to see with the world and how I want to make that ripple effect. And so, sorry, I'm talking about me this whole time, but we'll get back to like, more of like this, what's going to happen in 2027. So, moving on, with this paradigm happening, it's going to help us. So I want you guys to imagine in 2027. Call me an optimist here, but for myself, 2027 is also like a new beginning, a new shift, and new possibilities. So in this new world, we are powerful because we are authentic and we are respectful for our values and those of others. And so when we start to use our individuality and when we start to use our authenticity, how can we create and cultivate a presence and intuition and courage and flexibility? And how can we enlighten our community? It is our ambition to evolve and build a better world that carries forward. So helping us to confidently navigate through the chaos and open ourselves to new opportunities is when we're going to start to see the shifts. Because what we are doing, and I've said this before, it is no longer working for us. It is no longer serving people. People are burning out left and right. And there's got to be a better way. And especially with AI taking on all these jobs from us, it's causing struggle and pain and stress. And that's not good for our nervous systems. So as we get deeper into into the new paradigm, we will talk about why it is the age of the projectors. So human design, the Genius Report, and hundreds of other tools give us the opportunity to emerge from apathy and take our place. And it helps us create the world we want for ourselves and future generations. So the reason that projectors are going to be a huge impact for this is because they are the wisdom that this type can bring to build in this new paradigm. So They are the guides. They are the wise ones. They see differently than the rest of the energy types do. So the projector is turned towards others, experiencing energy through others, and this gives them the wisdom to use the energy with the awareness and respect. This is valid on an individual level. The projector sees with their heart and guides those who have recognized them and invited them to go further in the discovery of themselves. It is also valid on a collective scale. So, as a projector, the projectors learn to use energy sparingly, and it moves towards a kind of degrowth and a return to essentialism. And so when I mean, especially from my view as a projector, I see things that other people don't see. And before I really stepped into this power, into this into my true energetics, I would get so frustrated with people because I would see something and I would give them advice and then they wouldn't listen and then it would fucking flail. Like it would, excuse my language, it would absolutely just derail. And I'm like, what if you just took sometimes I feel like I am talking to a brick wall and I'm like, why didn't they listen to me? It's because people just don't want to be told to do, but then you just watch them struggle and then you're like, okay, like that's not my problem. So, oh, wow, crazy lightning just totally just was right in front of my face. That was cool. So the awareness that a projector has, they're such observers and they use that to help make things better. So projectors in a workforce are probably the advisors. Most projectors go, unconsciously are teachers, guides, advisors. So as um as a projector myself, I can guarantee that we learn from our mistakes and we encounter our experiences. I've made many mistakes and I learn from them. I always say every mistake that I take or anything that happens, I'm like, that's just another lesson that I can put in my book. And I hope I don't do it again. So this is really exciting because I really see so much for our future and I want to be a part of that. And I feel like especially, projectors were so misunderstood. Like we have been so misunderstood for so long. We're told that we're lazy. We're told that we don't work as hard. But the thing is that projector energy is meant to relax and sit and then get to work. It's not about go, 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 work, 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 because we don't have sacral energy. And so I'm really excited for this era we have the next couple years. And you know what, projectors, if you're listening, it's okay. It's this feeling that you're feeling right now in this weird time that we're going through, is just temporary. Just keep thinking of the future and keep thinking about where you want to see yourself in the next 4 years and work from that. And just notice those baby steps that you're doing are working and keep using your voice. I know that my projector energy really didn't come out until last year, 2 years ago, maybe when I started my first podcast, Yoga for Realists. So let's talk more about just, what you're going to see with this new paradigm. Should we be afraid? I don't think we should necessarily be afraid. It really depends on whether you're holding on tight to the past or sitting in all this uncertainty. It's really important to stay present. So like I said, this is the new cross planning for Phoenix. This new paradigm, I've been saying that a lot. This new paradigm it can be challenging to get much information on. And like any of us for a long time, we've wondered what it all means, what is true and what isn't. Now, know that everything, in astrology and human design is here to help us. It helps guide us. You can listen to it. You can take everything that I say here, and you can do something about it and you can work with it, or you can just keep living the life you're living and see how that works for you. And again, when you're using your human design, we are already in our energy. A lot of people are already unconsciously being the energy that they are. I know I was. I've been, before I kind of like lost it a little bit and wanted to know more, I was still unconsciously being the projector that I was. I will lounge around for days and then I'll get up and I'll teach yoga and teach Pilates and I'll talk and guide. And like that's what I do, you know? And sometimes it's kind of nice to step out of that energy, like step out of the human design and just take a break and just be. Um, but like it's good for this moment in time, especially with this new paradigm of how we can work with it to help shift it in a way that's not scary. So to begin, we need to understand where we are right now right now. Because once 2027 hits, this mysterious new paradigm, living in the depths of chaos and uncertainty, which we are right now, especially with politics. I mean, I don't even want to get into it because I'm just like, I'm terrified as a woman. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but like, I'm just kind of like sitting back and just waiting to see what happens. We are at the end of this 400-year era. And each era we live through has an incarnation cross, all of its own, that represents the job of the era, its purpose of the era. Let's say currently we are living under the cross of planning, and everything that has been built is now transforming. So the cross of planning has give us institutions, it gave us industry, it gave us structure, and it gave us hierarchy. So during this time, this is when Pluto was in Capricorn. So it helps us bring the tribe together and move our world forward in progress, which we have made a lot of progress. You've seen formalizations of education, you've seen formalizations of healthcare and industry and agriculture, finance, governments, corporate businesses. You see all just the industrialization of things. And for most of this during this time, we've seen lots of positive growth for good. Humanity has improved the standards of living as far as like technology, like fridges, we have microwaves, we have all of these things that become more connected globally and created value to trade and learned as we learned and advanced our planet and experienced growth, exponential growth in all the areas of life. Governments have evolved as has education, healthcare, industry, and tech finance and business. Now all these struggles now we're starting to understand, like, yeah, as we like grew all this, they're all falling apart. Everything is kind of corrupt at this point. So we need to come to an end of this period where we have been heavily mind associated, and during that time, we have been so conditioned to do the thing and just see what's happening in the state of consciousness is that this is no longer serving us anymore. So it's our thinking that has changed the world. And in human design, we talk a lot about how we should never think. I mean, we have to think, our mind is there, but we should never be using our mind to make decisions. And that's what we have been doing. And it's leading us to a collapse. And we need to start getting back into our true state of consciousness, using our authentic authority and using that to make decisions. So right now we are on the runway of taxiing, awaiting takeoff, meaning like we are moving towards the change. And that change is the gift of 2027. The next 7 years, sorry, it's not 7 years now. So the next 3 years are a time where the old institutions must fall apart. Not completely, but they must pivot so that we serve a changing world and humanity. No longer will we be told who we are. No longer will we be told how to think or what we must consume. We are moving at a time where individuals have a voice that matters. And Our health matters, and our institutions must listen to this and evolve or will die as people will no longer stand for this dictatorial and manipulative way. Like we are being manipulated we're being gaslighted into thinking like what we're doing is fine. So we are living in a time where humanity is no longer in its childhood nor a teenager. We are now on the verge of growing up, and this is such an important point because we must be asking ourselves, am I growing up or am I refusing to take responsibility as an adult? And this is what I was saying in that example when I was talking to my friend. Like we want so much more for ourselves that our parents do not understand it. It's not that we think we're better than anyone. We just know that what we have been doing is beyond bullshit. And it's not working and it's not serving us. And now my generation, Gen Z, is going to be greatly depressed. Mental health is through the roof, and we need to change that. So let's now talk about where we're going. Let's talk about the Incarnation Cross and the cross of the sleeping phoenix. It's time to relax. I'm so excited. This is my era right here. First thing we know of the phoenix is that as it rises from the ashes. And before you go there, know that the planet does not need to burn for us to rise. So, however, we do need to stop resisting the metaphorical burning to allow the change. So, what that means is kind of letting go of the burnout. Having an attitude of what we can rise from this. Whenever you're faced with an inevitable challenge, tragedy, or failure, however, please know that all of these things are external clues showing us that change is coming and we must have faith in the good things and have faith in the phoenix. There is a natural rhythm to transformation. First, we experience the breakdown. Yep, that is definitely happening right now of the breakdown of the industry, of the government, of the education and healthcare and the finances. And if we don't start to have this, if you're not feeling like this breakdown is happening, then we need to start collectively getting there. Like we need to start working together. Those of you that have invested in what Ra has had to say on this subject may feel a little nervous or downright terrified as he talked about this breakdown in an extensively dark way, because this is a scary time. This is a big shift. And like, I don't know if people are ready for it. Like, I really don't know. So I'm excited to see like where this goes. Ra has said, however, what I do want everyone to understand, Ra's personality in his sun gate in 51 is the gate of shock. So he has that shocking major energy of ways to shock people and initiate them to step up. I mean, if you listen to a lot of his audio, you can find him on SoundCloud. He really gets deeper and just like you can just hear the shock in him. He really helps people change and raise their consciousness and change. He's not talking from facts. He was talking from this energy. He has channeled HD, so he's channeled human design, and he did not predict the future, or even if he did, we have free will. Like, you don't have to listen and believe anything he says, but like, I mean, even in astrology, like people like don't want to believe in astrology, but like most of the astrologers I've been listening to have predicted this thing that happened with Trump getting shot. Like they literally predicted it a week ago. And then what do you know? It happened. So like if you're not believing in this stuff, like you probably should get with the program. This is all energy. This is all the planets and the solar system shifting, and it's causing this energy to happen. We are beginning to see the next phase of the transformation, and that is a big breakthrough of Phoenix. So put your energy and focus on these sometimes tiny and sometimes huge breakthroughs, because this is where your power to serve the planet lies. It's all about the focusing of your energy. I want to get deeper into this, but I think I'm going to take a break for now because I want you just to process like everything that has happened. Actually, no, I'm not going to stop because there's a cross. This cross is made up by gate 34, which is the power of the great, which is all about self-empowerment. It's got gate 20, which is the gate of direction of the now. And then it's got gate 59, sexuality, deeply connecting. And then gate 55, abundance of spirit. And of course, the 20 to 34 makes the channel of charisma. So let's unpack this a little bit. This is going to be a time of self-empowerment and charisma, and people being themselves and expressing their abundant spirit through the wave of emotion that spirit wants to experience. It's going to be a time of deep physical connection and intimacy. So watch out, social media. You're going to have to change because no, we are so sick of social media. I know I'm sick of social media. I'm trying to get out in the wild and like hang in and connect with people, and birthing of the new business, as well as other forms of life. And with more presence is a response to the now. A lots of free will and a huge lack of responsibility is what the catch is going to be. We are moving towards a beautiful time of potential, grace, and joy, individuality, and connection. A time where we can relax and enjoy our lives and become abundantly wealthy in all good things. But if you want this, then you have to take 100% responsibility. Stop resisting the change and focus your energy wisely. Like there's no excuses anymore. Take care of yourselves. Get within yourselves. Resistance is the number one thing that gets in your way is resistance. Resistance to trust, resistance to be yourself, resistance to speak up or to forgive and to love fully. Resistance to holding on to the planet as it is and not letting the planet do what it needs to do to help us get into the state of consciousness. The only reason for resistance of fear is the fear of being out of control, or the fear of being rejected, or fear of being not being good enough, or the fear of not being loved. I know that I still have my fears. My fears of feeling like I'm different. That is my fear, which I know I'm different. I'm very different. I'm an alien. Like, and I sometimes I back off a little bit because I get scared that I'm scaring people away. But really, when I talk about it with people, they actually are intrigued. So I have to let that go because there is no reason to have fear. You need to trust. You need to have faith that things are going to work out if you do the work. The reason transformations begin with breakdown is because something has to get so painful that you have to change. And I know I had that moment of pain where I was like, things need to freaking change or I'm going to lose my fucking mind. I'm going to jump off a cliff. I'm going to jump into traffic. Like that's literally how I felt. And so here I am speaking to you guys through the void. And I hope that you're enjoying this. So firstly, Firstly, there's no reason to resist the chaos. Know that all of this uncomfortable uncertainty is bringing us to where we need to be, and it gets used to this feeling of uncomfortableness. So feeling of discomfort and using your voice, focus your energy on the growth, not blame. And when you feel like you're being judged or you're feeling like you're not fitting in anymore, just know, keep going. Just keep going because where you're going is going to help. It's going to create that ripple effect to help people. Your energy is everything. So really let me know if you need a reading. I would love to give you guys readings to help you really get in tune with your energetics. It really saved me. Like I said, I was about to jump into traffic. I was thinking that. And I used my energetics to help me understand myself so that I can help people around me and not lose my mind like I did. Where you invest your energy will make a huge difference in the long run. The world will be what we see it to be. So where you are investing your huge imagination and energy is super important. I believe the reason human design has come to this world When it has is to help us in a way, it has because we need two very important messages as we move towards the new paradigm and a time of individualization. The most important thing we can do to this planet is to fully love and accept ourselves as we are, and to know that know what our gifts are and use them in the proper way. And then you can totally be empowered. You can have this energetic power, and human design is all about being like your authentic self. And when you can be your authentic self, you can see that people are attracted to you. You're building that attraction, and then we can work with one another. No one really owns the knowledge as it's channeled in the guidance. A lot of this stuff, a lot of the energetics is very unconscious. So you're already in that aura, you know? This new era is all about individualization, and this is not a dirty world. It is the ultimate power, because when we are in love with our own differences, then we can love everyone else's differences. And to be an individual is to be different. This is the era that we're moving towards. So buckle up, guys. Be yourself, love yourself. If you can't seem to find that love within, you have guides. You have people here to help you find that true power in you. Because it's hard, and it's hard to understand how to work with it. And I know it's taken me over a year to really embody this. The thing that really stood out for me through this years of studying human design and human behavior was that at the bottom of every person's issue was the fear that if I am fully me, warts and all, I will not be loved. And that's how I felt for a minute. Like, I felt like if I was to be totally myself, will people steer away? And guess what? Did I lose people throughout this process? Absolutely. They didn't want anything to do with me. But guess what? I love myself so much. And I've always loved myself so much, but I love myself even more. So I can now bring this to you guys and help you guys find your way. That's what human design is all about. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, projectors, get ready. You have things to say them. Get your voice ready. Open up that throat chakra. And projectors, I am giving you guys an offering. If you are a projector in human design, you will get the human design intensive for half the price. So I would have to look at your chart to see if you're a projector. And if you are, I will charge you So if you are a projector, and again, I'll have to look at your chart to see, but if you are and you're approved, I will give you the human design intensive for $150. So that's 3 hours of us talking all about your strategy, your authority, your profile, your 9 centers, your gates, your channels, your incarnation cross, like all of it, to help you really dive deeper. Please take this offer, because this is our time, and I really want to get you guys to embody your design, especially projectors right now, because we need you. We are vital right now. That's all I have for today. Until next time, love and light.